It's Brittany, bitch. Hey, I'm Rachel. Welcome to Let Me in the Library. I'm making a video again. I know. We're all surprised. It's shocking. It's shocking. I'm back. But I wanted to transition back into making videos again because they're so much fun. It feels like a time right before the end of the year where it would just make sense to start making videos again. And with that being said, to transition myself into making more videos again at this time of the year, I'm doing the end of the year book tag. Yeah, this is a book tag that was created by Ariel Bissett. This has just a couple of questions. Question number 1. Are there any books that you started this year that you need to finish? Yeah, there are. Allow me to just go into my currently reading shelf and I will tell you every single thing that I started this year and didn't finish. There actually are a good number of these I started last year and also didn't finish, but we're not even going to get into that. Number 1, I just started this today. It's called How to Winter. It's how to harness your mindset to thrive on cold, dark, and difficult days. I also have Legends and Lattes, which I technically started, but not really. The Hunger Games. So much fun. I decided to start this again, and I am making my boyfriend listen to it while we work on projects, so that's been really fun. Very big fan of rereading The Hunger Games at any point in time of the year. Confessions on the 745. This is a domestic thriller that I convinced some friends to read IRL because we kind of have a book club going and we wanted to read something that was a little bit more like murder mystery, spooky, thrillery for this time of the year. So we are reading that. I also have A Sorceress Comes to Call by T. Kingfisher. I actually got an arc of this book online and didn't read it on time for the release day, but I still want to read it. I also have Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros. It's from this little series called Fourth Wing. Don't know if you ever heard of it, but I am unfortunately reading the second book. Fortunately or unfortunately, I don't know. You decide. I did read Fourth Wing this year. I had a lot of fun reading it. I will say that. I had a lot of fun. I do have a lot of opinions about that book, which I can't even say they're unpopular opinions. They're just opinions that are also shared by other people. But you'll have to wait for the vlog for that one. I also have To a Darker Shore. This was a book club pick that I selected for the Winers Book Club. And every time I pick a book club book, it kills the book club because we just all go into a reading slump and nobody can read anymore for months. So I'm sorry to all of my friends, but I also haven't even really started this book, and it did not necessarily put me into a reading slump, but it did mean that it was just something I was not actively doing for a while. I also have Crimes and Math Demeanors, which is a very fun kind of like puzzly math book that I was reading on vacation this year. A Fatal Grace, which is the second book of a detective series that was lent to me by my aunt, who very promptly wanted it back when she realized I was reading everything on double speed, which is not the way to really read books. I also have Shabik Lobik. This is a graphic novel that I have been consequently taking in and out of the New York Public Library over and over and over again on my Libby app and not actually finishing. But this is a very cool graphic novel about genies and granting wishes, but it's all through the form of like these purchasable bottles which contain the wishes, and sort of the ways that ends up really ruining people's lives or deeply affecting people. I did read this year, that's right, The Stolen Heir by Holly Black, which I last updated on March 24th of this year. And then I have a few random books like Keys from the Golden Vault, Business Math Demystified. I don't even remember why I was reading that. Tales from the Yawning Portal, another D&D book. How the Boogeyman Became a Poet, and What Feasts at Night, another T. Kingfisher book, was the last one. Big Bets, How Large-Scale Change Really Happens. I like to read a little bit of nonfiction every now and then. That's where we are, and we're like, we're barely into this video. Oh my god, I haven't even been using my mic. Hold on, everybody. Okay, I just hope it's working. I have no idea. Well, I forgot that I had this really cute microphone, which was honestly a huge motivator for me to start making videos again, and I have no idea if it's even working. So next question. Do you have an autumnal book to transition into the end of the year? Yes, I do. In fact, it's Legends and Lattes, which I'm sure everyone else on booktube has probably already read, but not me. Legends and Lattes is a book that is so highly acclaimed by so many people as just such a fun, cozy fantasy read, and I've also been recommended it many times because it has such big D&D vibes, and if you know me, that's my thing. So this is about an orc named Viv, and she has already been like the mercenary. She's been out there fighting and doing all these things for so long, and she just is like, I'm done. I'm ready to hang up my coat. It's time. I'm retiring. And she is opening up a coffee shop, and she just wants to live her best coffee shop life. And I'm sure she has the spoils of war to afford to actually create and sustain a coffee shop. She is like, I'm doing that. Also, nobody in this town knows what coffee is, so she really has her work cut out for her. Not to mention that all of these people from her past life as a mercenary keep coming back into her life and being like, come back, one more job. And she's like, no, I'm retired. So I think it's sort of a matter of her like wanting to just lean into like this sort of cozy lifestyle that she really wants so badly. I just realized that this vent is over my head and it's pretty ugly. So I'm gonna just block it with my head as best as I can for the rest of this video, because we want everything to be really beautiful in this video, much like the sponsor of this video, Ana Luisa, who makes very beautiful jewelry. Ana Luisa is a brand that I have worked with before. You may have seen some of the jewelry that they have on my person from time to time. This is actually a brand new necklace that they just sent me. I am kind of in a new environment right now, and I've just been dealing with a lot, and so I usually will just kind of keep this same piece of jewelry on all the time, and it actually doesn't tarnish at all. I will just wake up with my jewelry already intact. I will take a shower or whatever, and it doesn't tarnish. It stays exactly in the same condition as the first day that I ever wore it. I mean, I have some of these newer necklaces that Ana Luisa was kind enough to send me, but I also still wear a lot of the jewelry that I have from them from years ago. I have this pair of earrings here, which I wear a lot. I have a couple different ones that are kind of like old reliables for me because I wear them all the time at work. I think it's always just like a fun way to spice up an outfit and personalize a little bit more of what you're doing and what you're wearing. Also, I don't know if you're like looking around, but we kind of have a little bit of an environmental issue going on in the world. They're a climate neutral certified company, and they also are completely water neutral and carbon neutral in the production of all of their jewelry. Ana Luisa jewelry is very high quality. I get many compliments on Ana Luisa jewelry versus any other kind of jewelry that I have. It's water resistant, it is hypoallergenic, it lasts very long. There's also a 2-year warranty if you change your mind. There are so many choices between something that's a bit more cutesy, a bit more bold. Ana Luisa is having their biggest sale of the year. It is up to 35% off for some of these items. So the more you buy, the more you save. I'm going to leave a link in the description box of this video to go directly to the site and find all these beautiful pieces and many others. If you would like to find a gift for yourself or for a loved one this holiday season, I think Ana Luisa would be a really beautiful, timeless gift. With that being said, let's get back to the end of the year book tag. The next question is there a new release that you're still waiting for? I'm honestly going to refrain and abstain and plead the fifth on this one, mainly because I am part of the Libro FM influencer program, where if you write a lot of reviews, you can get access to some books before the releases hit the shelves. We've already seen a pattern here when I was talking about my books I have started this year and need to finish. I feel like most other people maybe have like 5 or 6 books that they were currently reading and need to get through. I'm not like other girls, just am really behind on some of these other reads. So also, given what time of the year it is, I don't really have anything else for this time of the year that I'm looking forward to. The next question is, what are 3 books that you want to read before the end of the year? 3 other books two of which are with me that I wanted to read before the end of the year. The first one is I Hope This Finds You Well. I've been wanting to read a lot of books that have something to do with like startup corporate culture, mainly because I'm a recovering workaholic, and I always find it very cathartic to read books about stuff like that. I actually don't remember if this one is really specifically a startup, but I thought that it was a really interesting premise. So this is about a woman named Jolene who works as an admin for Super Shops Inc. But she has really terrible coworkers that just don't respect her boundaries at all. So she secretly vents her grievances in email postscripts, but then changes the text color to white so that nobody will see it. However, one of her secret messages is exposed, and she has to do sensitivity training as a result.
We found a faster route via New York 440 North.
What are you?
4 minutes.
What are you?
Prefer to stay on the current route. Tap no thanks.
No thanks. What are you talking about? There's an IT mix-up which grants her access to the entire department's private emails and DMs. So she starts to read everything that her coworkers are actually saying, and she discovers that layoffs are coming. And she realizes that she could save her job by gaining her boss's favor with all the secrets that she's discovering here, and kind of convince everybody, including HR, that she is like the ideal employee. But of course, she is learning more and more about her coworkers, and it's just sort of like towing a line in between, is this really okay to do to other human beings or not? Slight little romance that she might be developing with somebody. So I thought that this would just be really fun to read because it has a big injection of comedy in it, but it also is kind of I wouldn't say it's like something I've experienced before per se, but it definitely is something where you're like, everybody kind of has a work grievance of some kind in their career, and seeing like, what are people really saying? Like, they act so nice, but are they really nice, or are they out to get me? That's why I'm really excited about this book. I was also recommended this book, which is The Cautious Traveler's Guide to the Wastelands. The reason I'm really excited about this book, knowing basically nothing about it, is it's a train book. How can you not be excited by this map? Look at this. Are you seeing this? Are you seeing the train map? I'm so excited by anything to do with a train. I think it's Professor Layton's fault, but honestly, I love anything with a train mystery scenario. It is my favorite thing. It is an excellent part of Paper Mario. I mean, what can I say? This takes place on a luxury train, which is the Trans-Siberian Express. And on the train's last journey, something went terribly wrong. But nobody really knows what happened. In fact, nobody seems to remember. But Zhang Weiwei, who has spent her life on board and thought she knew all the train's secrets, is now here when the train is embarking again with a new set of passengers. There's a grieving woman with a fake name. There's a guy that is a disgraced naturalist looking for redemption. And there's also a stowaway. Zhang Weiwei has spent her life on board and thought she knew all the train's secrets, feels that she should report the stowaway, but she can't help being drawn to her. So they sort of have this forbidden friendship and try to uncover what is it that really happened. Can they actually trust each other in sort of like survivalist landscape as the wilderness outside just gets more and more intense and threatens to consume everything? It is said that there is a price that every passenger must pay, a price beyond the cost of a ticket. I know it's going to be so good. Lastly, I have a book called The Tainted Cup. I had this book from the library, and then my dad stole it because he wanted to read it also. But this is about a murder mystery, kind of along the lines of a Sherlock Holmes murder investigation, but it's very strange. There's sort of like these organic things that grow out of the earth and are just heavily involved in the sort of world building that they have. In an opulent mansion, a high imperial officer lies dead, killed to all appearances when a tree spontaneously erupted from his body. Even in this canton at the borders of the empire, where contagions abound and the blood of leviathans works strange magical changes, it's a death at once terrifying and impossible. There's an investigator called to the scene, Anna Delabra, an investigator whose reputation for brilliance is matched only by her eccentricities. romance. At her side is her new assistant, Dinios Cole, who is an engraver magically altered to possess a perfect memory. His job is to observe and report and act as his superior's eyes and ears, quite literally in this case, as among Anna's quirks are her insistence on wearing a blindfold at all times and her refusal to step outside the walls of her home. Very Arthur Conan Doyle coded, absolutely. Is most perplexed by Anna's ravenous appetite for information and her mind's frenzied leaps. ADHD girl? To mention her cheerful disregard for propriety and the apparent joy she takes in scandalizing her young counterpart. Yet, as the case unfolds and Anna makes one startling deduction after the next, he finds it hard to deny that she is indeed the Empire's greatest detective. I love a detective story. I'm a huge fan, and I just feel like it would be kind of not really autumnal, but just something that feels like this time of year. To add another one, because I realized as I was talking about this that I didn't include a single Christmas romance. I had a couple. Some of them were like baking romances. I just love baking, especially around this time of year, so I feel like I'm always drawn to those. But this one is Ashley Herring Blake's new book, Make the Season Bright. I am a big fan of Ashley Herring Blake's. I actually got to meet her around this time last year in the Ripped Bodice bookstore in Brooklyn. I had prepared by reading all of her books that I could possibly get my hands on in advance of the book event, and I'm not going to stop now. So her latest book is about two exes that find themselves stuck at the same house for Christmas, and they haven't dated for 5 years. I think this is about... Were they engaged? Hold on, I didn't know about that part. It's been 5 years since Charlotte Donovan was ditched at the altar by her ex-fiancé, and she's doing more than okay. Sure, her single mother never checks in, but she has her strings ensemble, the Rosalind Quartet, and her life in New York is a dream come true. As the holidays draw near, her ensemble mate Sloane persuades Charlotte and the rest of the quartet to spend Christmas with her family in Colorado. It is much cozier and quieter than Manhattan, and would guarantee more practice time for the quartet's upcoming tour. But when Charlotte arrives, she discovers also that Sloane's sister Adele brought a friend home. That friend is none other than her ex, Brighton. All Brighton Fairbook wanted to have was the holliest jolliest Christmas and try to forget that her band kicked her out. Is this a band romance? But instead she's stuck pretending like she and her ex are strangers, which proves to be difficult when Sloane and Adele's mom signs them up for all of a series of Christmas dating events. Charlotte and Brighton are soon entrenched in horseback riding and cookie decorating, but Charlotte still won't talk to her. Brighton can hardly blame her after what she did. After a few days, however, things start to slip through. Memories, music, the way they used to play together, Brighton on guitar, Charlotte on her violin, and it all feels painfully familiar. But it's all in the past, and nothing can melt the ice in their hearts. Right? Wrong! Anyhow, next question. Is there a book you think could still shock you and become your favorite book of the year? I will say it's possible, it's unlikely, but it's possible that the A Cautious Traveler's Guide to the Wastelands is possible. It's highly unlikely, but it's possible. The last question is, have you already started making reading plans for 2025? Honestly, I am just holding on by a thread to keep reading the things I'm reading, but I've found in the past that I've really enjoyed making goals, but I really rarely keep them. And most of the time, I do the best when I am reading books with friends. So I think in 2025, I just really want to do away with any kind of stringent goals that keep me on a leash and don't make me happy when I'm reading, and instead just prioritize reading with friends, either through book clubs that are online or in person, or buddy reads, which I've actually been doing quite a few of lately with a lot of friends. So I think that's really the goal, is just to, keep doing the things that make me happy as far as, reading and also booktube. And I think also to kind of get to some of those books that have just been on my backlog for so long. I have many, many books on my shelves that I have just really not touched. And I think reading down my physical TBR would make me very happy, because then I wouldn't really feel like they were just decoration, and they would actually be a real book that I've read and consumed. And also, like, what if I'm keeping a book on my shelves that sucks? Like, I want to get rid of that. So that's a factor as well. Well, that is it for the end of the year book tag. Please let me know if you have any answers to any of these questions, and if you have any other big reading plans before the end of the year. I'd be really interested to see what you are reading right now. And if you also want to take part of Ana Luisa's biggest sale of the year, I'm going to leave the link to that in my description down below. You can check that out, and you can also check out some more videos from me. I hope that you enjoy this holiday season, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!